Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the High Soapbox. I am your host, and today we have a special guest, Mr. Target the Tank, back in Season 2.
Thank you.
So last time I had you on, we ended up talking about not Elder Scrolls Online.
Yes.
But it was fun nonetheless. But this time I wanted to get into some deep cut, like things about the game, the meta, and all that, and I just wanted to have some fun talking about how this game that made it so you and I were able to meet in the first place.
Okay, that's right.
So, just to start out, sorry, I just readjusted myself here.
Go for it.
Last night when we were chatting up off mic about other stuff, we were talking about the current meta game and how it's the tank meta.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if you could, as a man who mains Dragon Knights himself,
yes,
would you say that excuse me, got that coronavirus. Would you say that some of the classes have started feeling a bit linear in terms of how you can play it from a PvP metagame perspective?
Yes and no. The idea is that when you have anything that's overbearing, it causes your min-maxing to be extremely apparent. And when that happens, everything does feel linear. There are other options, but there are not other effective options to work with. And so, therefore, whereas you would normally have the freedom to try other things, you don't have the freedom to try other things, and so you feel like you're on rails, and you have to follow those rails because otherwise everything else doesn't work.
Well, I am inclined to agree in that regard, but at the same time, it's part of the reason I don't play in champion point campaigns. You know, I feel like when you're not forced to stack on penetration and have crit protection, you're able to be a little more flexible.
Yes, because you don't have to be on those rails. Because trying to do it otherwise doesn't work in non-CP. You will die rather quickly, even if you're a tank. Because and this is where I say when something is overbearing, because the answer is that the damage itself is overbearing. And so when you realize that the damage, when someone can hit you for 42k, that's overbearing when a tank's health is normally 35 to 42k. So they can one-shot a tank if the tank is not actually...
If they caught off guard.
And that's overbearing. That defeats the purpose of being the tank.
How do you apply that same logic to me being a poor little Nightblade? A poor little Mage Blade at that.
It lends itself to the gank game because the idea is to catch someone off guard, to stun them, unload on them, and get out.
But there are a lot of ways stealth almost feels hack at this point. You know, it's impossible. It almost feels impossible at times to get away.
Because...
But maybe that's a lack of skill on my part.
No. What it is it's them trying to balance it out without dealing with the effective issues.
Right.
Because in order to make yourself that way, you become one-shottable yourself.
So it's either Nightblades do no damage. So here's the thing. Nightblades don't hit nearly as hard as they used to.
Not Magickas.
Not Magickas. No. Definitely not Magickas. The problem I have is, if you think about it, like, Nightblades become OP, like truly OP, when they have these two things, when they have both of these two things, absurd damage, and the ability and being slippery, and the ability to get away almost every time. Now, what they've done is I feel like they've overbalanced. They've nerfed, especially Mage Blades, into oblivion, and then they've also made it harder to get away. You know, so you have to have one, but you can't have the other. But it seems like Stam Blades were able to keep both, and Mage Blades were screwed.
Because if you think about it, they can't balance it completely that way because there are a couple of races that can break that.
Yeah. Well,
Red Guards for DC.
Yeah.
Wood Elves for Automatic Dominion. And technically, not Khajiits, but I want to say it may be Argonians, but Argonians lend themselves more to healing and tanking a little bit better. But they're
the damage buffs I get as a Dark Elf are nothing to scoff at.
Yes, but the Dark Elf lends itself extremely well to being a flame DK.
This is true.
And so in particular, Dark Elves, I think, are the only class or only race that can actually use the new sets to the fullest extent because they can use both a two-hander and use spell crit damage because they have stats for both.
Right.
They have the actual stat, and they actually have the weapon and spell damage to compensate. So really all they need to run is crit for both of them.
So now let's move on to a more meta-defining thing. In your opinion, what does Elder Scrolls Online's Cataclysm look like?
So what would a Cataclysm like event for ESO?
Or from in a World of Warcraft type of, like, changing the vanilla game, moving the story forward, seeing things change. You know how in No Morgon used to be a dungeon, and now after Cataclysm it's now an actual city again, things like that.
The idea behind that is like it was changing, not necessarily of the old guards, because in WoW's situation, Deathwing technically was an aspect, and he had a purpose that was extremely well defined, and I always chuckle because out of all the dragon aspects, he was the tank.
Right.
He was always designed to be the tank, and he was the one that the old gods realized they had to go corrupt if they were going to take everything.
Right.
The idea behind that is you then have to look at who would you have to take in ESO to overrun everybody. And
Meridia?
Meridia kind of acts as a loon, in essence.
She acts as a help when you need it, but not something you can trust, because the book Darien left behind at the end of Somerset was enough to tell.
Yes, and that's why I said she's like a loon.
I have a feeling that we're going to see a continuation of what happened after Somerset. Once they're done doing like these year-long storylines, we get a break, and they're going to just. I think I would not be surprised if we have. Like,
I think they have the next 10 years worth of storyline already laid out.
All right. Oh yeah, definitely.
The problem is implementing it.
Oh my god, yeah. It would be interesting seeing them do anything with Akavir.
True, but I think because like the closest we've gotten was Tharn, And what it would be, it would be one of the main story drivers that would have to be corruptible. You'd have to completely corrupt them.
Tharn would be, but Tharn would be, as a character, is...
He's the closest that there is right now, but he's not one that if he was corrupted would drop everybody.
Right, but he's also the type of character. He's also the way he's built is he's backstabbing. He's untrustworthy. He's all this. But there are two things that are about Abnar Tharn that are concrete and are unchanging, despite all the bullshit he's done.
Mm-hmm.
He loves the Empire.
Yes.
And he wants to protect the Empire and the people of the Empire.
Yes.
So the problem is those two things are core to him as a character. So if they had if they wanted to do anything, they'd have to base the corruption around that.
Well, it would. My response would be that he would not be the person that they would base it off of.
Certainly, I mean, they could.
Let's consider the fact that there are 3 constellations, right?
There's the thief.
Ones, yeah. There's the thief. There's the warrior,
and the mage.
And there's the mage.
The Celestials would be interesting.
Tharn actually would fall under the thief's mantra.
This is true.
Why am I forgetting her name? I do not know. The Nord lady would actually fall under the warrior's mantra.
Lyra.
Lyra would fall under the warrior's mantra because everything she does meets those qualifications.
Was Varen the mage or was Saisahan the mage?
Varen's the mage, and that's why I was bringing up when we talked last night why Saisahan is the interesting one out.
Yes.
Because by definition, he doesn't use magicka in any form.
Do you think we'll see Varen in next year's year-long storyline?
We might.
Because Saisahan got retconned to be alive, because I killed Varen in my storyline.
Gotcha.
So I'm guessing that the way they described Saisahan coming back. Here's the problem, though, with all these year-long storylines with all these characters. Just lend a thought to the new players. And the mindfuck after doing Elsewhere and then doing Greymore and then saying, you know what, let me go do the main quest line for shits and giggles.
Yes. It is because you're getting the backstory, but you don't know which way the backstory is going to go.
Right. It's one of those things where a part of me feels like if you have not, your account should check to see if you have not completed the main quest on your account.
The problem is that's the idea of getting new people into the game and getting them up to speed, because technically speaking, you're not up to speed until your champion point 300 champion points in. Because you can't do certain vet dungeons until you break that threshold.
I think it would be smart if they turned the main quest. They turned the soul line into you gain a level in it. There's how many levels in the soul tree line?
10.
10.
Okay.
You get a level up in it every 5 levels. Change it to that, and then make the main storyline be something you have to do first, but you can do all the quests in succession. As fast, not having to wait to level up to do them.
I understand what you're saying.
I'm just a lore junkie, and I would be fucking. It's part of the reason I can't get into World of Warcraft.
Yes.
I would want to play at Classic. I would want to play there and start there and go through Burning Crusade and you know, and just.
The idea is that in completing there are intrinsic issues with completing stuff before you are CP 160.
Yeah, that's true.
Because there are, like, if you complete the Fighters Guild quest line before you're 160, your weapon is used. You can't use that weapon anymore. It is a one-time received weapon for completing the Fighters Guild line.
Yeah, and that weapon is kind of useful.
You have to be vet 160 for it to be useful after that point. And so there's a lot of things that tie in to, oh, you have to be capped out before you actually do this, that are subsequently hidden in stuff. And that would keep you from progressing fast enough. And that's why I was going, like, a cataclysmic event would also unhinge what already is, because it would change the starting storyline. And in order to do that, you would mess with every new player who's now coming in the game, who has a different storyline than every player who's already been in the game.
Well, they already do. We already do have different storylines from people who start the game now. When you buy the base game, you don't start in your normal area. You start in Vardenfell.
You don't have to, but no, yes, you're correct. Because you can actually start in the main starting area. In
the Wailing Prison?
Yes, you have a choice. Yes, you have a choice where you want to start.
I actually really like that. I did not know that you could do that.
Yes, because there are good reasons to start there. Like, I do have one other tune, which is a Templar that's sitting still in the Wailing Caverns. And all I'm doing is letting him run around. Since it's one Stamriel, all the mobs in there level to him. So he can just stay in there and keep leveling until he decides it's time to leave.
Wait, the mobs in where?
The mobs, since they move level to your level, you can stay in the Wailing Caverns and level up. You don't have to leave.
Smart.
And so I've spent the time, like, just letting him go back and forth killing the same couple of mobs, getting my abilities, putting new abilities in slots, switching out weapons, practicing, getting those new weapons, getting those skill lines already met up, so that when I leave,
you're ready to start doing content.
Yes, I will have all my skill trees open. I will have all my equipment lines open. I will have whatever else. And people are like, well, you can go buy that. And it's like, yes, but I get to learn the class that he is from that standpoint.
Right.
And then work my way out of there. And it allows me to open up my healing line, which is an interesting way to go by, and work through that and go, okay, I can now use heals to this, and I can use heals to this. These are things that work. The only things that I won't be able to get a hold of are my mages, Fighters Guild, Sigic, Alliance type of guild stuff, because those I have to go through the storyline to get. But when I do come out and do those are the only things that I'm really having to focus on.
Right.
For a new person joining the game, the biggest problem that they have right now is that they're overwhelmed with choices.
Yeah, there's no that's why part of the reason I'm glad they put something like Zone Guide in there. But what they really should do is, hey, you want to follow the story? Here's where you start. You want to get ready. You want to go start doing end game level stuff. Here's where you start. But
they have to be like, because the issue with that is they have to be specific, and to a degree, this is the benefit that ESO gives to their community. Because they don't say a lot of it and don't put you on rails. Their streaming community that does builds, that does walkthroughs, that does lore, that does anything else. It actually allows the individuals themselves to make something of it, so that people are interested in looking up like, hey, I'm trying to figure out how in the world I'm supposed to get through this dungeon because I keep getting jacked by this one boss. And then somebody go, well, you have to go in there with 2 people. Well, I want to solo it. Not going to happen. You've got, and they're like, really? Yeah, there's one boss who will tie you up, and you have to have somebody there to get you out. These are things that it lets them know, oh,
this is actually an MMO.
Yes, you do need other people. And so it does allow people to go and like start looking for what's going on and what's happening. Like there are times when I've run some dungeons and ZOS members have come in to watch my stream on us running dungeons.
Just to see how you go about it and see how they work. Any bugs, any issues. That's smart. That's smart, actually.
And like one of them was in. He's like, Johnny was like, I heard you had a problem because somebody else was watching. And I went, yes, we were doing Crypt of Hearts. No, not Crypt of Hearts.
1 or 2.
Shadow. Let me think here. Oh, not random. It is not Crypt of Hearts, but Cradle of Shadows. There we go. And we were doing it on Vet, and we were doing it in hard mode. The boss had an extra ability at it that I had not realized was added. They launch a fireball from the ceiling at one of the targets, and you have to dodge roll to get out of the way of it. The issue was that it would launch at the same time the Spider Queen would tell you to stand still. So you had to either stand still and take the hit from it launching from the ceiling, or if you dodge rolled, you'd get bone spiked and die. And like they were watching, it was like, yeah, we added that. So we wanted to make it a little bit tougher, and it was like, we may need to go back and visit that, because it's like, yeah, like
there's a fine line between difficult and punishing.
Well, it's not that they try to punish.
No. When I say punishing, there's punishing is when I use that word, I mean it's Dark Souls is a hard game.
Yes.
The Lion King for the Sega Genesis is punishing.
Okay.
That's the difference.
Okay.
Games that do things that either they don't tell you or you can't avoid. Mm-hmm. Like there's like in Dark Souls, it's hard, but the mechanics stay the same.
Yes.
You know, like always, like the rules don't change. It's only unfair when the rules. It only becomes a punishing game when the rules change.
Yes.
You know, the rules that the world run by change. So
yes.
that was a case with that boss where that's punishing because not only is it like did it change without knowing, it also is you can't avoid it.
Because they didn't realize that you could not avoid it. They were assuming that you would be able to avoid it because it would happen randomly. But the fact of the timing of when it would be, is what made it punishing. Like you had to sit there and eat it until it was time to dodge roll.
Right.
And that's why they were like, "Oh, we do need to check that.
We need to put some work in." Yeah.
One of the other ones that I feel is punishing is Dragon Star Arena. This specific round in the one with the 3 altars, with the mage and the warrior, or the warrior type. They're, from a tank perspective,
it's a zoo.
It's not necessarily a zoo. It's because I noticed the difference when they actually increased the AI, because I was running Dragon Star Arena before then, and then right after that, they changed their AI to make the AI smarter. There was an unforeseen effect when I was running Dragon Star Arena, which was the warrior, like when you were supposed to interrupt the caster, and you'd get, like, because the caster would start casting, the warrior would stun you as a tank, so you couldn't interrupt her. And you wouldn't get out, like, you wouldn't break free fast enough in order to interrupt her, and she'd get the cast. A testament
to, like innovation's good. It's like better AI makes them more challenging. That's fine, but
yes,
there does need to be an if statement of if in Dragon Star Arena and if and on this round with this boss with this boss. If caster boss is casting, do not bash, basically, as like, or do not stun. I mean to say,
do not stun. Right. The issue is that is logical. Like not the writing of the coding, because the coding, even though you're saying that, that's illogical. You're in a fight. You're in an arena. The logical thing is for them as a team, for the warrior to stun you when they're casting. The better choice would be
reduce the length of the stun.
No, the better choice would be increase the length of the cast.
Ah, yes, that makes sense. Because if you get if there's a half second, you get released. You're still able to bash if there's a half second left.
Yes,
and that would be the difference between a good tank and a great tank.
Yes, because then you'd realize, like, you have to break free because you know you're going to eat the stun. Like, he is going to try to set you, because that's them working together. His job is to lock you up so that the caster can cast. That's what he should be doing, and that's what we normally see in PvP situations. But if you increase the length of the cast time, then that allows either the tank to get out of it. If they've run out of stamina, somebody else to get over and bash, because you would want one melee or one that has a gap closer, and you'd want one caster who has the range interrupt.
Last question for the one last little question.
Go for it.
If you could change in 30 in an answer of a minute or less, or in 3 sentences or less. My apologies.
That's fine.
What would you change? What would you add? What would you change? What would you do to this game that you feel would make it more fun? Like, would you change something fundamentally about the gameplay? Would you add a new feature that hasn't been added yet? You know, things like that.
Oh yeah, that's an easy answer. That's an easy answer for me.
I would add pet battles personally. That's just me, because I'm a Pokemon fan.
I understand. For me, the easy answer is I would increase everybody's health by 500%. Second thing, I would decrease healing across the board by 50%.
And lastly,
I would keep that scaling to the damage output that is current. The reason being is because the biggest issue is you cannot survive the attack. Everybody needs to be able to survive the attack. Now, would I like to see that medium armor gets a health bonus over light armor? Yes. But it needs to be halfway between that and heavy armor. That's the bonus of heavy armor. But it needs to have that cushion so that medium armor players, melee players, brawlers, aren't squishy and they can get in because they don't have to stand from range. And
I just want light armor to get a spell damage buff instead of that stupid spell pen.
The spell pen allows you, because like you have additional spell pen from your light armor from using a destruction staff. Yeah. You don't need spell pen.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to put points into it in your CP. You don't have to go get spinners. You don't have to wear I think there isn't a spell pen head and shoulder set or monster set. There are for physical damage.
Because that's where you're lacking.
Because we lack it sorely.
And on that, the one thing I will say here though is, you know what? I agree with those changes, but we are reaching the end of the episode at the moment. So yeah. I wanted to move into our shout out segment, which is
go for it.
Which is new. Like when I last had you on, this segment wasn't here. The shout out segment is where you're able to shout out things you're doing. You're able to shout out things people you like are doing. You're able to shout out things you like, period, and just tell people where to find cool stuff you like or cool stuff you're doing.
Okay.
I'll start with a couple of mine just so you get an idea.
Go for it.
Shout out to my boy CJ Perry. When we're recording this, he just released CalVisionsApparel.com, brand new streetwear apparel, and support small business and this young entrepreneur's dreams. He is a fantastic graphic designer, and you guys will love his stuff. Go check it out at CalVisionsApparel.com. A shout out to something we're doing here at High Media. We just started recently High Media Headlines, which tells you gives you a brief snapshot into the news in 6 minutes or less every single day. You can check that out at HIMheadlines.com, or you can go to anchor.fm/HighMediaHeadlines. Both will go take you to the same page. Lastly, I want to shout out Squeezebox Records, a local record store in Wilmington, Delaware, with friend of the show Rich Fisher, who runs it. Fantastic selection of old records and new, and you can also check them out at Shop Squeezebox. You can check them out at squeezeboxrecords.com, where you can shop and get a bunch of cool records, record players, and everything you need to keep your collection safe, sanitary, and lasting a lifetime. Anybody you want to shout out?
To all the players in the game who spend countless hours going through dungeons with newbies who have not learned yet how to set up themselves and
Bless
play.
Bless them.
I give a shout out to all those who actually are in the trenches doing the hard work and like spending time helping people
and helping to build the community.
Because you're the bread and butter, whether it's in ESO, whether it's in WoW, whether it's in Pokemon, for those who are playing Pokemon Go.
That was it. Check out. You should actually check out my High Media Headlines. I put out yesterday. I talked about that in particular.
Yeah. My shout out is to the people who are doing the hard work, who are having fun doing it.
Yeah,
we're in essence the tanks taking the damage that people who normally would take.
Everybody needs one. Nobody wants to be one.
Yes, so that they can walk through, taking that little extra time. To community managers who actually love their communities, that spend the time to go, hey, you know what? I think this would be kind of funny. This would be enjoyable. Like, yes, I'm interested because ESO does have good community managers. There are some good community managers that still exist over there at Active Blizz, but I know that they have a rough time with decisions that are made.
Yep.
And then the community managers for those who are streamers and those who are playing games with people who are local. And I guess my last shout out would be to Tech City, which is just between Alachua and Gainesville, Florida, because I know that they're working on a few things coming up here in the fall. And I'll just, if you ever get a chance to check them out, look for Tech City. And I think that's where I'll end from there.
You forgot one thing.
Shout out about myself?
Yeah. If people want to watch you stream Elder Scrolls Online, where can they do that?
Usually I stream on Twitch. I haven't streamed it in a little bit because I've been working on a few things in the background. But I will be back on Twitch probably in the next 30 days or so, and putting out some new content and build videos for people who are wanting to handle surviving the tank meta for Battlegrounds.
You certainly helped me.
As well as those who are looking to have a little bit of fun for Maelstrom Arena and running dungeons in fun ways that doesn't require them being stuck. Doing them the normal way everybody expects.
Yeah. Mr. Target the Tank, and your government name, if you'd be so kind?
Marvin.
Thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure as always. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the High Soapbox. If you want to join me and Mr. and Marvin, or otherwise known as Target the Tank, you are more than welcome to join us in Tamriel. Also, did you drop your Twitch URL?
I did not drop my Twitch URL, which is still...
Say it for posterity, if you'd be so kind.
Target the Tank on Twitch.
Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the High Soapbox. Thank you so much for listening. We will see you guys next time.
Later.